Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 46. Another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. So let's crack on. First one is from ScanStore. Now, ScanStore create high-resolution scans of humans and feet and bodies and clothes and that sort of thing. You can use those in your 3D work, obviously. And what Metahuman do, which is Unreal Engine's Metahuman, is they allow you to generate humans to use in your games and your virtual experiences. So what this is ScanStore showing their pipeline to take their really high-resolution images and then real-time manipulate them using real-time rendering within the Metahuman engine. So if you're creating virtual experiences, or if you're creating video on demand, for instance, and you want to send a certain video to a certain customer, then it can be generated as brilliantly as this with the quality that you can see here. So the uncanny valley does not apply to this. It's absolutely brilliant. This one is from China. Not super sure where the video originally came from, but this is via Guns N' Roses Girl 3 on Twitter, so thank you very much for that. But this is anti-sleep lasers in China, and there are just lasers on a gantry over a motorway, and it's supposed to stop people from dozing off and crashing. Now, other people would argue that just having a laser show over a motorway is probably going to distract you and you're going to crash anyway, so whatever. Not really sure about it, quite frankly. However, thank goodness for some smog in China, because you wouldn't be able to see the lasers otherwise, so it's not all bad. Always looking for the positives. This is possibly the worst use of a mute video ever, because it's all about music. So this is Umet Ozcan, who I saw a video last week, and it was about him generating music using his voice. Obviously that sounds normal, but using AI instruments. So you train essentially an AI voice on an instrument. You upload lots of samples of it, doesn't matter what it is, a rock guitar, drums, musical instrument, doesn't matter. And then what you do is you generate something that you can then control by either beatboxing or using your voice. And obviously if it's a rock guitar, you can do all the different emphasis using your voice alone. So thought that was pretty cool. And in the video, which is obviously in the description, he shows you how to do that step by step, which is really interesting. But one of the comments underneath I thought was interesting about somebody who has accessibility, mobility issues, now being able to play the guitar again, essentially. So I thought that was pretty cool. So very nice, like that a lot. This is showing off some of the new features of GPT-4, and especially its code writing ability, plus using Midjourney and DALL-E to create images as well. So this is Xavi Lopez, who has created, let's just say, Angry Birds with air quotes on it, because it's not real, obviously, but created a game. Now, this took 10 to 12 hours to generate what you're seeing in front of you here. About 400 to 500 prompts it took to either generate the sprites, generate the code, and also debug the code as well, create all the particle physics you're seeing here. And it actually only needed 600 lines of code in the end. So those are downloadable if you really want them as well. So just starting to show you, you can go and have a look at the tweet or the X, whatever, and it sort of broadly speaking tells you how to do it yourself as well. So that's pretty amazing. Would have taken months of work before. I used to be a games developer, and I do appreciate just how easy it is now become. So go and do it yourself. Go and have a play of the game as well. It's available. Saddle innovation is on the rise. So this is the SaddleSpur. So this is, as you see, there's a funny little, let's say, backing seat at the back. Now, if you're a fan of 1970s bikes, this is obviously very similar to a chopper. However, what it does is it stops you sliding off the back and supports your lower spine, giving you the perfect posture on your bike, making it more comfortable and allowing you to ride further, etc., etc. So there you go. It's unisex. It's got all the little cutouts to make sure your pressure bits and bobs all happen correctly. £125 available now. Not particularly light if you're a little bit of a weight weenie, but there you go. Good luck explaining that. And also just be careful how you get back on the saddle, especially after a descent. Big news in AI models. There's also another one where Elon Musk launched his Grok, which is, broadly speaking, trained on Twitter, so you can just imagine just how rough it is, shall we say, around the edges. However, OpenAI also unveiled the day afterwards GPT-4. So it's the less, or GPT-4 Turbo. So with Turbo, there's some really interesting things I just flagged. So it's their new large language model. So it's now been trained up until April 2023. So it's quite recent on its facts. It is multimodal, so it'll do all the good stuff. It'll generate images and use audio and that sort of thing. And you can feed audio in as well. Also, it has 128,000 tokens for its context window. Now, what that really means is when you're having a conversation with a large language model like ChatGPT, it tends to forget stuff quite quickly because it can't keep it all in its memory. And likewise, you can't really train it because your prompt is only a certain length, and likewise, you can't really upload stuff. This is basically saying you've got 128,000 tokens. It's not quite words, but it's kind of equal to words that it can retain in its memory and also give it context. So you can upload almost like an entire book to then say, read this book and then give me some new answers. Or you can have a long conversation where it just gets better and better and better because it's got a load of memory. So really interesting. One of the other things is they have custom models, so certain businesses, big businesses I guess, can then would be allowed to train their own large language model through this as well. So that's quite big. If you hear of GPT Turbo, that's kind of what it is. And finally, we have Mattel's first use of AI in a, let's say, board game. So Pictionary, obviously the classic game where you draw stuff and people trying to guess what it is. Now it's the AI that tries to guess what it is. And if it guesses correctly, then obviously you get some points, that sort of thing. So what you're seeing here is obviously everybody turns over a card, you get something to draw. And is that a tree or is it broccoli? Don't really know. But you then get an app and you show it to the app and it guesses. If you get it, then you move forwards. Other people can say whether they think it's gonna work or not, and that's how you then gain extra points and win the game. So there you go. In stores now, £24 UK pounds right now, just in time for Christmas. If you're thinking about an AI puzzle for your loved ones. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, give it a like, share it with somebody. It always does help, and I will see you next week.